The Weeknd has just released Dawn FM, and it's already one of the most captivating releases this year, and it's already the first week, which is quite amazing because when you're going to go through this year, this is going to be an album to remember. So we're going to try something out new here, guys. We're going to be putting Dawn FM into a tier list, so we're going to be going through the complete track list and ranking every single song. So guys, if you want to see more original series like this on the weekly, please subscribe to NFR Podcast. Plus, we did a full live album reaction to Dawn FM with all of our community. If you guys want to catch that, please go to our Patreon plan. The link is in the description. It's a full-blown live stream where you guys can come bump the album with us, and we're doing more of them on the weekly at 12 a.m. Eastern time when new releases drop. So Lou, let's get into this. Let's look at the track list. What's the first thing you're taking out of this, man? We've had a weekend to sit with it. What are you saying? What's going on?
It's an amazing track list, and it's just growing on me with every listen. On the first listen of the album, the second half kind of had the slower pace to me, and I wasn't really getting used to it. But now that I've had more time to sit with it, I'm enjoying every single song on the whole track list, some more than others though. So let's get into this. Instead of actually using the familiar tier list criteria, we actually use our scores that we have for album reviews. So it starts off with bad, then it goes into mid, good, great, amazing, and then finally perfect. So we'll start off from the beginning, from the intro, and move on to the outro. So first song, Dawn FM. How do you feel about it?
Oh, it's absolutely. It was an amazing intro to start off because it kind of gives you the vibe of what's going on with the rest of the album. Jim Carrey is going to be taking you through this experience as like kind of the DJ of this radio show, and the radio show is kind of guiding you into the afterlife with the Weeknd. So, what are you saying about this? Where are we putting it, man?
I think I would personally give it amazing because I love the way the Weeknd sets up atmosphere. You have these birds chirping, and it feels like you're isolated, but you're moving towards something. You're moving towards the light, and the Weeknd starts off with his powerful vocals, and it's the perfect way to kind of get you enthralled into this new world of the Weeknd. So yeah, bro, honestly, I feel amazing with it.
I'm going amazing on it as well. But let's go on to the second track, Gasoline. This was major because the Weeknd was trying different things out stylistically here. We heard a different voice with kind of a different accent to it, and it was really cool to hear it for the beginning of the song, and then for some other parts that bled into the second half. So overall, I think it's actually one of my favorite songs on the whole album.
Really?
Actually, I swear to God, it's one of the first ones that really captivated me. So
I was feeling great, to be honest.
Great with this one?
You're more on the amazing side of things, because listen, I enjoy the lower register. I just think that it's not one of like the best songs off the album.
Yeah, the hook's fantastic as well.
It's nice, and it's kind of cool that it's kind of like it's a song's about him wanting to burn away all of his vices and be reborn, even if that means into a different realm. You know what I mean? He kind of wants to be burnt with a gasoline. So I like the concept of the song, but it's not one of my favorites right now. I feel great, but you want to go with amazing? What are you saying? What's the compromise here?
Shit, what is the compromise here?
I'll give you the amazing. If it's really one of your... Is it like top 3 off the album for you?
It's been one of my most played, but it depends because I'm looking at other songs in the track list and I could kind of understand where you're coming from because there are better performances by The Weeknd on this album. So, whatever. We'll stick at great for the rating, but it's still one of my most replayed songs. But let's go on. How Do I Make You Love Me? This is the third track. It's actually fantastic. I'm another song that I'm a big fan of. So, take us through the motion, man.
Yeah, man. Swedish House Mafia pulled up for this one, and it's Miami Vice vibes, where I literally feel like I'm driving downtown Miami in this convertible, wearing a fucking Hawaiian shirt, buttons down, bro, and just driving to drive into the night, bro. That's kind of the vibe I get because you have the EDM influence, and the Weeknd's kind of pleading with his lover to take him back, and he's also offering her some mushroom tea, trying to get some psychedelic trips going with his girl. I love the song, but I think it's one of the most captivating and one of the most original in terms of production on the whole album, and the momentum that's built, bro, and that fucking beat drop is spectacular. So for me, it's an amazing song.
It is an amazing song. I think that when this was the perfect song to place at the beginning of the track list because not only does it give you insight on what Dawn FM's going to progress into, but it also has that captivating energy into it that already immerses you into the album. So, How Do I Make You Love Me? Amazing rating. Let's go on to Take My Breath extended version. So, how did you like the extended instrumental at the beginning, understanding what the track sequencing did, and then finally getting the song, and then also the extended outro on it?
Yeah, well, to start off, when this song actually dropped as the single, because it was the lead single for Dawn FM, I really like the first 3 minutes because that's how long the original cut was. But I fucking love this 5-minute version
It's so
because
sick.
of the smooth transitions, because of the song structure, because he takes so much time to let the instrumental build out at the beginning. Then you get these glittering synths, you get the piano chords, and the Weeknd's falsetto vocals are so good. It reminds you of the Bee Gees, and I feel like I'm in the psychedelic disco, bro. And it's just
Listen to this. I was in the car today actually, and it was the first time I was in the car with my mom for a while, and I was listening to the radio because she doesn't have like an aux cord or whatever, and I was listening to Take My Breath on the radio, and I was listening to a bunch of other hits, and I'm like, this stands out.
Yeah.
This has that X factor to it where it encaptivates you. Honestly, it's the perfect hit for me.
Virgin Radio? Is that
Virgin
what you're
Radio,
bumping
yeah,
it?
Virgin
Yeah.
Radio in Montreal. Yeah,
Fire.
and I played like fucking 5 times in a row in the span of 45 minutes
Sheesh,
because
that's nuts.
that's what they do, right? They just fucking
Yeah.
spin as much as they can. So
Sure.
I'm going a perfect rating on Take My Breath, especially for the extended version.
really perfect rating.
It was,
wow.
bro. It was perfectly executed. Like that 5-minute instrument, bro. It was
Listen,
gorgeous.
to me, it's not top 3 off the album, but it is a flawless track. I'll give you that. So
I can't find a single gripe. With
and it's
this.
also divergent from the usual Weeknd song because he's actually talking about trying to get his girl away from drugs when usually he's trying to bring her into that world with him. So I'll agree with you on the perfect.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So let's go on to Sacrifice now. This is another big track for me on the album. This was nice because you're going to start seeing, the Weeknd's character progression throughout the album when it starts getting to Here and then Out of Time and then Here We Go Again. So take me through Sacrifice. And, we were on Patreon, the Patreon stream, listening to this. And I remember as soon as we heard, I believe it was those nice groovy guitar strings on this song, it was so well done. It was so immersive. So, yeah, take me through your experience
Listen,
with
bro,
Sacrifice.
I'm telling you now, when I heard this instrumental, I heard Daft Punk all over it. And if you actually listen to Get Lucky by Daft Punk, it sounds almost identical. The same electric guitar sample that they use, or just electric guitar riff that is used in both songs, sounds almost exactly the same. And I absolutely love the way that it was actually used for the song. And apart from that, The Weeknd gives me some Michael Jackson cadences here, so I'm always in for those. And it's the only song I believe that has a music video besides Take My Breath so far, so that adds to it as well. To me, it's a great song.
It's a great song.
Yeah, what
All
are you
right.
saying?
Yeah, I'm on that same level. Let's put it into the great category. I don't think that it's maybe on the level of Take My Breath. Some people might disagree. Let us know in the comment section where you would place this song personally, but I think great's a great rating for it. But let's go on to A Tale by Quincy. This was another pivotal part for the whole cinematic value of the album, and it kind of shows insight on what the Weeknd's feeling right now. It was talking about how past experiences will shape your future and how you'll feel towards certain emotional situations because of the emotional distress that you probably went through as a person when you're younger, or the things that you saw. So take me through it, man. Again, like why was this so valuable to the overall sequencing
Yeah,
of
it's
the track
valuable,
list?
to begin with, just because Quincy Jones is one of the Weeknd's biggest inspirations in music, and to hear him actually get so vulnerable with his story that he had to share about his childhood, I loved it. And I also think that it played a pivotal part to the actual theme, like you were saying, because Quincy ends off by saying, "Looking back's a bitch, ain't it?" And it is for the Weeknd, because throughout this album, he's kind of replaying these past
I think that
memories.
was the interview, though. That was the interviewer, because I believe
No, that was Quincy.
It was Quincy.
It was Quincy. Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, look, do I think it was 100% necessary to the track list? Maybe not, but I still loved it for what it was. So I'd slot it into the great. I wouldn't put it in amazing or perfect because it wasn't necessarily a song, even though I like how that instrumental plays into the next song. I'd go great.
All right, let's go on to the next one, Out of Time. This is another major one for me on this track list. So how do you feel about it, man? Like, this is where, the Weeknd starts to realize past mistakes that he's made in his relationships and croons for a second chance. So kind of looking at where he could find redemption. And again, what's crazy about this album is that it's so tight knit and sequencing and, everything's really put together perfectly. So what do you think about Out of Time? And do you think it was the perfect song to include in the middle of this track list because it slots in at the 7th position?
This song it melts my heart. I'm not even gonna lie. This is the one for me. This is the best song off of Dawn FM. I think everything is flawlessly produced and executed by the Weeknd because you have him holding these notes for the perfect amount of time. His pitch control is amazing, and you also get this amazing sample of 1980s Japanese city pop, and the vibes are immaculate. It feels very nostalgic, and it's the perfect song to explain what the Weeknd's feeling because he's kind of realizing that he can right these wrongs. He's out of that time. He doesn't have the luxury of time to actually go back and change his mistakes. So I think that it's the most complete song on here, and I also love getting bullied by Jim Carrey to not touch my dial at the end of the song. So it was cool to get some guidance from Jim also at the end of the song. So yeah, to me, this is a perfect song. It's my favorite off the album.
It is a perfect song. This is actually in my top 3, actually. I've really been revisiting this. And who do you think maybe would have fit on here as far as the feature goes?
Nobody, bro.
Nobody?
This is one of the Weeknd's best songs, period. And he carried it beautifully. The dreamy keyboards, too. Everything was awesome. But let's now go on to Here We Go Again, featuring Tyler, the Creator. Going into this, I didn't expect Tyler to have such a short-lived verse, but I did like it nonetheless. I thought that it was kind of cool to see him give his girl an ultimatum, pretty much, you know what I mean? So overall, I thought it was good. I thought that it kind of felt like a Christmas song too, maybe because of the slow tempo and the rhythm that the Weeknd had throughout it. But how did you fuck with it?
I liked it. I think it was, again, it was good for the overall track listing, but I don't know if I'm going to revisit it as much as a lot of other songs on this track list. I've been listening to the album over the weekend, and this is maybe a song that I haven't revisited as much, or I have, because I've done multiple listens as a whole, and I feel as if this may be the song that doesn't grab me as much as other ones. So how do you feel about it? You know, even looking at Tyler's feature, it wasn't necessarily the craziest either. So I'd probably go Great Again. It's a great song. I wanted
Tyler to bring in his pitched up singing from Igor that he did on that album. That would have been cool. But you said Great on this one?
I said Great.
I agree with the Great rating. It was cool to even get the Weeknd flexing. This kind of felt like the snow child of the album. But let's now go on to Best Friends. And this song is on the shorter side. I think it's only like 2 minutes in runtime. And this one I could really see becoming a radio hit. But not my favorite song. It might be my least favorite on the album just because I feel like the lyrics do get a bit repetitive. And out of every song on the track list, it feels the most like a basic Weeknd song to
That's
me.
true. And it also feels like the song that doesn't necessarily play too much into the overall scheme of the album, because like there's this character progression throughout the album, but this song is basically about the Weeknd saying like, don't get too comfortable, we're just friends, like, don't get too attached with it. And like that was kind of confusing because now it's like he was kind of progressing against that, and like was kind of realizing his mistakes, and it's almost as if Best Friends was a step back from that. So I'm not sure if that was kind of like,
it was confusing.
It was a bit confusing. I'd have to go back and like look at the overall structure, but Best Friends, good or great? What are you feeling?
I'm feeling good on this one.
Yeah,
sure.
You're going for good with it?
Yeah.
It's a good song. It's still a good song. It still has good value, but compared to the rest of the track list, we'll put it into the good rating. Let's go on to Is There Someone Else? Another big song onto the album. So take me through the experience, man. How do you like it?
Yeah, this song is just audio therapy, and it's cool because you kind of get this burst of synths, but yet the Weeknd's vocals are dominant enough for him to kind of brace over those synths and kind of be the leading force behind the track. And yeah, he's kind of just, singing about having paranoia. Is she with somebody else? Have I lost my chance to really seal the deal in this relationship? So thematically, it was solid, and love the vocal performance. So
I did love the vocal performance.
I'm feeling great on that one.
I'll go Great Again. Yeah, I think it's definitely a great song. But let's go on to Starry Eyes, number 11 out of the whole album. This was a great song too. I think that when you're looking at overall, like it was definitely well placed, because this is the Weeknd kind of discussing the common theme within the album, and it did add into the overall sequencing of the theme behind it, and that's something that I looked for when looking at this album, because when the Weeknd was talking about Dawn FM, he sold it as a concept album, and that's exactly what it is. So take me to Starry Eyes, man. Do you think that it's on the top tier maybe of the album, or maybe on the lower tier?
I don't know. I'm kind of stuck in between great and amazing. I love how heavenly and angelic his vocals are. Like his crooning on this song is just fantastic, but I wish it was a bit longer. I felt like he could have developed it into something more. Great or amazing? You make the call.
Great or amazing? I make the call.
Yeah.
We gave Is There Someone Else great, so I think we give Starry Eyes great. I feel as if they're kind of maybe on the same vibe for me, but anyways, time will tell. Maybe it'll end up going back up to amazing. Every Angel is Terrifying. This is interesting because there's a bit of comedic value in it as well towards the end. Like there's this kind of skit where you're getting this retro commercial where they're trying to sell you the afterlife, where it's provocative and like it's thought provoking, and that gave me some comedic relief within the album. Was nice for the pacing, but how do you like it? Like what's the vibe with this?
Listen, I was a bit disappointed because the atmosphere that's set up at the beginning of this song is amazing. It feels astronomical. I feel like I'm floating in space, and then abruptly it cuts to this commercial, and I'm like, fuck, like this was going somewhere. I was getting into the groove of it. So that was a bit disappointing for me, but like you said, it was cool to see the Weeknd add some comedy to the project. Overall, again, was it necessary? Not quite, but I still enjoyed it for
I
what
think
it
it
was.
was though. I think it was. I'll tell you why. Because it adds a nice little touch and break to the overall intensity, maybe of the listening experience. So think about it. You're around maybe track 12 here. You're getting towards the end of the track list. That nice little like let's say splash of comedy gives you a relief, and I also like it too because the Weeknd is actually saying that the Weeknd angels are not built in the way that we think they are. They're kind of different, and they're actually scaring if you would have seen them in front of you. So good or great? What do you say, man? What are you going with?
Let's go with great.
You're going with great on this
Yeah.
one? Another great track. So right now we have 10 to 12. That's all great. Don't Break My Heart. This is where, The Weeknd describes his love for a woman and also start speaking about drugs such as MDMA and other types of things. So how do you feel about it? What
This
do you
is
say,
one of the best choruses on the
That's
entire
facts.
album, bro. And I just love the rhythm that he has throughout the song. I love just the fact that he's kind of, talking about how his last breakup kind of almost ended up in him losing his life in a sense. Like these relationships are so impactful in his life, and we're kind of seeing that through the song. And yeah, I just think it's an amazing track.
It is an amazing track, and I do enjoy the overall. I would say captivation of it. Like it kind of puts you into that zone, and it keeps you wanting to go with the rest of the track list. Let's go. I Heard You're Married featuring Lil Wayne. This is one of my least favorite tracks actually. On
Absolutely.
The album. Yeah, I think off the bat I'm gonna give it a good rating. It's not a mid track whatsoever. I mean, Lil Wayne still delivers a good verse. The Weeknd has a good performance. It's a really nice beat, but I mean, in comparison to the rest of the album, I feel as if this is definitely one that's like on the lower end.
I kind of disagree on the Wayne verse. I felt like the more I listened to it, the more I heard that he was kind of rapping off beat. The one thing that I like is that you do get, classic comedic wordplay from Wayne with a line like, for example, "You walk down the aisle, I can make you run back," as he's kind of, taking you through his involvement with a girl who's married, who he's trying to win over. So it kind of plays into the usual toxic Weeknd type song, but I do like the Weeknd's performance a lot because there's a lot of charisma, and he also brings in these subtle shouts throughout his performance. So that was kind of enjoyable to me. But the Wayne verse it wasn't it, bro. It didn't fit on the song at all. And yeah, I agree with the good rating for sure.
It was a good song though. It was still enjoyable. I'm definitely not going to skip it. But let's go on to Less Than Zero. This one was more of a victory lap because the Weeknd is also talking about the success of After Hours and talking about what's transpired after that. And
really,
yeah. If you go look into the lyrics, he was talking about a couple of things.
I kind of interpreted it differently. But
how did you interpret it?
I kind of felt like with Less Than Zero, it represented how he's cold-hearted because he's below the temperature. So I felt like it was a metaphor for that. Not only that, but throughout the whole project, the Weeknd is holding a lot of emotional baggage, I felt like. And on this song, it's as if he's stripped of everything. He's finally letting go as he's about to transition into this afterlife, which is what Jim Carrey kind of guides him to do. And I just felt like this is one of the most beautiful songs because of how upbeat the instrumental is. I love the delicate acoustic guitar strings. And
that's true. I'm looking at the lyrics right now. That's correct. Yeah, you're right on that. I definitely have to see it differently because is this kind of like where because we had seen it in the Patreon and we had spoken about it in the review. This is where he makes his transition fully, correct?
Yeah,
like, this
he
is where
finally gains acceptance with this song.
I definitely see you on that. So yeah, my mistake on that. But Less Than Zero is a really nice song actually. It has a really nice light guitar as well. It kind of, outliers from the rest of the production. So how do you fuck with it?
Either amazing or perfect. Like it's really that good. It's top 3 on the album for me.
Let's go amazing.
We'll go amazing on it?
We'll go amazing on Less Than Zero, but I actually want to go on to my favorite track on the album. Like
which doesn't even have Weeknd performance.
With this Phantom Regret by Jim Carrey is so fucking sick. Well, it's Phantom Regret by Jim, but Jim Carrey obviously carries this whole track.
He's the MVP of Dawn FM.
He's the MVP of this. Yeah. But how fucking deep is this, bro? Like my mind was blown after I heard this outro. Ties into the overall aspect of the album. Talks about, being able to be heaven before you see heaven, to be able to fully embody that type of energy, and I just love it. Like, bro, this is the perfect outro for me. Nothing's wrong with this outro.
Yeah, I totally agree. And he just this is fucking Oscar worthy. Like the way that he was actually able to tap into this character, even though it's just his voice, he's really believable in that character as this guide who's making you transcend from this planet into another realm. So yeah, he absolutely killed it, and he really makes the message of the album come full circle with this outro. So you're feeling what? Perfect, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah.
No, it's definitely perfect.
We'll give Jimmy the perfect rating, bro.
Yeah, that's absolutely deserved. But listen, guys, let us know how you like the overall album. How is it sitting with you? What are your favorite tracks? What did you disagree with us about? Because obviously there's going to be different takes on the album. And let us know, what do you think this is going to stick with? Do you think he's going to release another album in this trilogy? And, well, if it ends up being a trilogy and following suit with this new thematic basis. So guys, thank you so much for watching this. We're doing content like this on the weekly here at NFR Podcast. And as we said at the beginning of this episode, we did a live album reaction to this on our Patreon plan. If you guys want to check it out, the link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching this, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for watching the full video, and if you're new to NFR, be sure to hit that subscribe button, as we'll be keeping you guys updated with the latest album releases in terms of update videos, album reviews, and our own original series on the weekly. And we also have our Patreon plan available in the description below, where you can access weekly bonus content and also access to our Discord. So be sure to check out all of that, and we'll catch you in the next one.